Hello guys! I hope this finds everybody healthy and safe and happy. It's been a long time since I did this, so I'm super rusty. I think it's been like 6 months maybe. But I am Stephanie. I'm one half of the Grateful Knitters. I did lose my co-host. Elle has decided to move out of state to pursue school and other endeavors, and so I am on my own doing this. So hopefully it will be just as entertaining. We'll see. So in case you're just joining, my name's Stephanie, and I am a knitter that lives in California in my tiny cottage with my 2 kitties, Louise the Siamese and Cosette the teeny tiny demon. And I love knitting. I just love everything arts and crafts. So let's get into it. I actually, with the pandemic, you know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this, it's just, you kind of get out of it, like out of your mojo. So your knitting mojo or your crafty mojo. I'm sure that it's happened to all of us. So one of the things that I do when I feel like that, like I could never think about possibly knitting again, but it's a double-edged sword because for most of us, crafting and knitting is an escape from everything, and it's self-care. Something that we really should be doing for our brains. So, you know, even though you don't feel like doing it, when you're when you're in these funks, finding ways to get back into it can be challenging. But I find that if I do little teeny things, little projects, that it really helps with my knitting confidence and just feeling like, oh, I can accomplish something again. And one of the ways that I do that is knitting. I knit birds, and because they're really easy, and they're quick. Here's a bird body that I finished. This one's kind of wonky though, but I get my pattern from this beautiful book, authored by Arne and Carlos, which if you've been around a while knitting, you probably know who they are, but they're awesome, prolific knitters who have a few books. I think one of them, actually I just saw another one of theirs on the Naughty Knitwits podcast for knitting like Christmas balls, and it's a beautiful book. But all of their books are just stunning. In fact, this book is so pretty that I take it to my nanny job often, because the kids love to see all the birds and pick out the birds and name the birds. And yeah, this one has, I wonder if I should have turned my, sorry guys, I should have figured this out before. Wonder if that would be better. No. Well, it's better in the sense that you can see, so I'll turn it around again once I'm done with the show and tell. But anyway, it's just a really beautiful, beautiful book, and I think I might have seen it on Amazon. I think that's where I got it. And then there's a basic bird pattern in there that I knit up. It's super quick, it's intuitive, you can memorize it. And then what's cool about it is that depending on your, let me turn off. Depending on your the needle size, the type of yarn, sometimes it's just your mood, whether you're stressed or not, it'll affect your attention. So a lot of these birds, I mean, they all come out different sizes. The gauge is different, so oftentimes maybe I'll repeat a row and not even realize it, and then that gives it sometimes a longer neck. So they're kind of just one of a kind. I never really fully follow the pattern. So, and you can just use scraps. And then the finished product is so cute. Everything's on my phone that I'm recording on, so I will insert a picture here of some of my finished birds. And you can also go into my my Ravelry. Actually, I do have some on my Instagram. You'd have to scroll way down because it's been a while since I posted any, but my Instagram handle is Steffi, all lowercase, STEPH _is_. And yeah, you could look there. And then also on my Ravelry page, which my handle is Hunacre, HUNACRE. And I have some of them there. Actually, I think I probably have more of the finished ones on Instagram. But they're so cute because you can even add little hats to them. And, you know, of course, you add a beak and their legs, which I do with wire. Anyway, they're a fun, quick project. And that's one way that I have helped myself, like, get motivated with my crafting. I even do like a bunch of bird bodies to start, and then I stuff them later just so I can crank them out. But I mean, you can do them, you could probably get 3 birds out of a mini. So, oh, here's one I have on the needles right now. This one is for a friend. I'm not sure what I lost some of my needles there. So this one is done with like I think this is a really special yarn, like an Angora. And then the tail is just a fingering weight, hand dyed. Yeah, so this one's gonna have a pretty big belly, whereas like this one, well, that one does too. This one is a smaller guy, but you can see like his neck is a little longer than say this one. So they all come out with different shapes, just like people, you know, unique, individual. Sorry you hear scratching, that's my cat. So I just bought this brand new kitchen mat to stand on because sometimes if I do dishes for a long time, my back hurts. Just for extra padding because I have like hard tile floors in the kitchen. Oh, that's her hissing too. She just walks around hissing sometimes. If you've watched me from the beginning, I think it was the second podcast that we got our Cosette kitty. And she was a kitten at the time, and she sort of terrorizes the older one, which is Louise. Louise is very mellow but kind of like old lady, so she doesn't like to be bothered. So if you hear a lot of hissing, that's Louise. Anyway, that scratching sound was the mat that I bought. It's like you have so many things to scratch, but she decides to scratch my brand new kitchen mat. It's awesome. Cats. So I think the last podcast and I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't really see. The last podcast, we talked about a sweater that I was knitting it was a summer sweater, and it was called the Seven Sisters Top by Blue Sky. Well, it's by, oh shoot, I forgot the gal's name, but I'll put it in here. Sloan is her first name. I forgot her last name. When I think of it, I'll post it, like I said. So I was knitting that top originally for myself. Shh, don't tell anyone. I don't think Audrey's parents watch this, but anyway, you know, it was right around. So Audrey, sorry, I should go back to that. Audrey is someone really near and dear to my heart. She's a little girl that I have been watching since she was about 4, and she's like the best. So, of course, and totally knit-worthy, because as knitters, we know there aren't that many knit-worthy people. You know, unless you are a knitter or someone that's really into making, you don't understand. Most people don't. Well, that's not a fair assessment. I mean, I think the majority of people that don't knit not everybody, but I think a lot of people just don't understand what goes into it, and therefore really don't take care of things. It's like I won't even knit my kids' sweaters because, well, Elle can knit now, but I mean Ethan, I don't think he's at the age or mindset where he would take care of a sweater. It would probably go in the washer and dryer and it would be done. So anything that I would knit for him would probably be like cottony, and he probably would not like it. So, you know, it's just, I'm a slow knitter. It takes me forever to finish things. And so the thought of that happening really breaks me. So I'm getting to the point now where there are very few people that I would knit for. And if people ask me to knit things for them, I'm kind of like, yeah, I can teach you to knit. That's kind of my response. So that's probably, people probably think I'm rude. But I think, you know, I mean, it's just, we have one life to live. This is my therapy. And I want to knit things that I like to knit. Simple as that. It's not to be rude or hurtful. So anyway, back to Audrey. So I was knitting the sweater for myself. As I was knitting it, I was like, oh man, this is really small. Well, it just so happened to be right around Audrey's birthday. And so I decided to gift that to her when I finished it. And it was perfect. And so, you know, her mom is so fantastic. And she's like a photographer extraordinaire. I mean, everything that she posts looks like a magazine. So, of course, she has like these beautiful boots to match the sweater. And so she decided to take, have a little photo shoot with it. And it's absolutely adorable. So I will post some of the pictures. I already put them on my Instagram, so you can look there. But I will try to remember to post a picture here or two. But it just came out really great. And the color was wonderful. I used a cotton wool blend yarn from Sweet Sparrow Knits, who is one of my favorite dyers. It was one of her new bases. I think it was called like Berry Moose, I think is what it was called. Anyway, it was a beautiful, beautiful yarn. So it came out really nicely. So one thing I'm currently working on, so that's actually, so my birds and my sweater for Odge are the only two things that I really finished. I mean, see what I mean? I'm really slow. Another problem that I have is that I get really excited about things. I'm definitely more of a process knitter versus a project knitter. Definitely. I do like to finish projects. It gives me a sense of accomplishment, but it's not, you know, like I'm destroyed if I don't. I actually just enjoy the process of it. You know, the rhythm of knitting and getting into, you know, a routine with the pattern is therapy for me. I definitely like to finish projects, but I'd say I'm more into the process of it. So I wanted to show you. My sister is she's about 15 years younger than me, but she has two little kids. And it's fun because my kids are grown, and so I can just live vicariously through her kids and get to knit them all the small things. So here's a sweater that I have started for my niece, Ada. And it's kind of blowing out. Yeah, I see one little mistake that bothers me. Like the way the pattern is, I think the stripes are the colors are a little too close here. I don't know, something with my eye goes to that for some reason. I think the colors might be off, but that's okay. It kind of gives it character. So this pattern is the Flax Light sweater by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's a really good one for beginning knitters. And it's just a raglan. It's got garter stitch on the sleeves, which I think is a cool touch. And yeah, it's just very, very basic. With this, I used Felici sock yarn, in striping. I think it was called like California Sunset or something like that. I don't have the ball band with me, but I think I might have talked about it on our last podcast. And I held it double with, so that's a fingering weight, and then I held it double with a pink mohair, which gives it that beautiful fluff. Hopefully you can see it. It's very fuzzy. One thing, like, I watch a lot of knitting podcasts, and a lot of people complain about, well, not a lot, but I mean, it's definitely you're one or the other. You either love mohair against your skin or you don't. So I'm hoping that, you know, this doesn't bother her too much. If it does, I'm going to advise my sister just to obviously put a shirt, maybe a long sleeve shirt under it. But she is 5 now, and so I knit this. She's really tall. I knit this in the size 8, I believe. So she'll have a couple winters, I think, I'm hoping, to get out of it. So I'm excited to give that to her. Oh, and I'm going to be on Sleeve Island in a bit. I think that I knit this on size 5 needles. Yeah. Yep. So I think it came out really nicely. Excited to finish that. Admittedly, I've put it aside because, like I said, I get distracted by other things. I want to knit everything. I watch a lot of podcasts, so I get inspired. My favorite thing lately is to watch The Knitting Place, because Dinah and Pammy, they always showcase things that they have in the shop, and they put together kits of things that are coming out, and they just have a good sense of color. They're just amazing, and so I always want to knit whatever they're showing, but I have to have restraint because otherwise I won't get anything done. It's just crazy. By the way, if you hear a lot of background noise, I apologize. I live along a really, really busy main thoroughfare, so I tried to time it so that it wouldn't be so noisy. Usually it's worse in the mornings, so, you know, hopefully it's not too bad, but that's why. Okay, so another thing, So my niece's brother, so my nephew, he deserves a sweater too. He's 4, almost 4. He'll be 4 in August. So I decided to knit him a sweater. See if I can find it in my miss. Here we go. This one's so cute because it has a little collar. I've never really seen too much of that. So anyway, isn't it adorable? It's a DK weight sweater. It's called Alec, and it is by Sarah Ronchetti. And I believe it's a top down. It's hard to figure out I really like the way she writes the pattern, but it doesn't really say. But I think that it is because it's hard to tell on the page, but it's got this little design element in the front. It's like braiding. It might be like a twisted rib. I haven't gotten that far in the pattern. But it's really cute. It's almost like, not smocking, because that's really girly, but it looks to me like a twisted rib. So, and then it has the little collar with the buttons. I just think that's such a cute little touch. So I am kind of experimenting with yarn since I have a tiny yarn store in my house, as we probably most of us can relate to, right? So I had this summery yarn called Skinny Jeans, and it's by, oh shoot, forget. I think it's by Taki. Anyway, it's a cotton. It's really beautiful to look at, but I tell you what, it is not that fun to knit with. It's it just gets hung up really easy. It kind of frays. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm knitting too loosely. I did not gauge swatch. I'm terrible about that. But so far the knit on it is pretty loose. So I think, I mean, this is, they recommend, I'm using the needle they recommended, a US 5. And I don't know. It breaks my heart, but I might have to rip it out. I don't know. Or maybe it would just be a little bit loosey-goosey, you know. That's kind of a cool look too. I don't know. So rather than keep going and going and going and then decide later to rip it out, I need to make a decision soon. But anyway, my sister likes the color blue. She said he likes it, so that's kind of why I went with that. And I had just enough, probably not enough for myself. I don't know why I do that. Sometimes, you know, if I see a unique yarn, like a summery yarn, I always think, oh, well, it's just for something light, so I don't need that many balls of it before I have a patterner. I just think of that in my head, and then I get home and realize I don't really have, that's not really enough for anything that I want to knit. So, you know, as far as amount goes, it would be perfect, but it's not going to be perfect if it's not, you know, if the gauge isn't right. So anyway, that's the Alex sweater. So that's something else on my needles. Then, do I have any other? Oh, this is sad. Okay, well, I'll start with this one first. So, I was knitting something that I'll circle back to, that I got really far in, and it just, I have to frog it because it's a disaster, fit-wise. And guys, that's why you do a gauge swatch. I don't know why I'm so lazy about it. I mean, as a process knitter, you would think that I would be into that. For some reason, I just want to get right into the project and not do the gauge swatch. What can I say? But then you end up with that where it doesn't fit correctly, or, you know, your fabric is really loose or too tight or whatever. So I started this one because I was thinking, oh man, I really want to start knitting for summer. Because the project that I was just speaking about that I'm going to frog was super, super heavy winter, and I was over it. And we're starting to get, you know, warmer here. So I decided to do Tail Feather by Heidi, I always mispronounce her name, Heidi Kermeyer. And it's like a short sleeve little cardigan. And I think the pattern calls for, oh, Shibui Twig, which is mostly like a linen. I think it's a linen wool and something else, maybe bamboo blend, which I have some of that. But the color that I have is very, very similar to the color that I knit in the Haya tank last summer. And I don't want to have two shirts in the same color right now. So I decided to use Holst Garn. I believe this is Tides, that's what it's called. And it is a cotton wool. I think it's 50-50 blend. And, oh, it might have some silk in there too. Yeah, I think it does. So it's very light. It's definitely fingering weight, which this pattern calls for that. I really like it because it changes a lot, and so I'm just now at the neck part. But the color is really creamy and pretty. I'm probably going to have to order more skeins of it because I know I don't have enough. This actually requires a lot. I'm doing the medium size, but so far it's super fun, and I just think it's really, really pretty. So yeah, the garter stripes on the bias, and I've never actually knit anything on the bias. So I know there are some tricks that I'm probably not aware of that hopefully I'll make it through and not goof up, but we'll see. Okay, so that's one project. And then, okay, so I'll show you the disaster. Oh, it's actually in this bag. So let me show you first what it's supposed to look like. Well, mine looks like it just doesn't fit good. This is probably the best picture. So it's a top-down, kind of a poncho-y look. Yeah, so it's called Cuffle Sweater by Alexis Winslow, and it's using Hudson and West yarn, which is super gorgeous yarn. It's rustic, beautiful rustic heathery yarn. I didn't do mine in that yarn. I actually did mine sorry for the crinkling, guys. Okay. So I actually did something different, of course, that's me. Never follow the directions, but instead of doing 2 colors, you know, and changing coat like with hers, she did each band in a cream color. I decided to do 3 different colors for each band, a different color for each band. So I used, oh, and the weight of yarn, I believe, was worsted DK. So what I did was I used autumn and indigo fibers. I held it double. It's a beautiful, like a rose color, like a beigey rose. Oh, so beautiful. Yeah, that was 75 merino, 25% nylon. It's called Old World. Then for the second band, I used this beautiful stone wool, which is 100% American Cormo, and it's super soft. Soft but rustic, if that makes sense. And it is a worsted weight, so it's a little heavier, so I went up in my needle. My cat is trying to get everything that I have on the table. It's really fun. Now she's chewing. Stop. She has so many toys, and she's pretty good about playing with them, but she just can't help herself sometimes. Anyway. So stone wool in the worsted weight, and the color is just so pretty. I don't have the ball right here, but I will just pull out the whole sweater. Well, the part of the yoke that I got done. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, so the main body of the sweater, and I may have talked about this in our last podcast, is this gorgeous rustic yarn. It's from, I can never remember how to say it. Where is it? So it's from Portugal. It's called Baroa. And I think it's from native sheep there, so Bordelera Serra de Estrela sheep. So it's really special sheep. I know it's Retrosaria Rosa Palmar. And most of you know what that is, but they sell a lot of yarns wholesale to stores here in the U.S., so you can get their yarn pretty easily now. But I don't think a lot of stockists in the U.S. have this particular line. It's just, I don't know how popular. I actually saw it talked about on the Gentle Knitter podcast, which is like, Nicole's my favorite. She's always showcasing gorgeous yarns. Anyway, it's cool because it makes this, you know, it kind of creates this, I don't know, natural, it makes lines in there that, you know, are not, it just adds like a design element to it. I love the color work. It's very, it's kind of like an optical illusion, the way that it's done. And it's very therapeutic, meditative to do. But I'm going to have to frog it because look how weird it is. I tried it on and my shoulders are way too, I don't know what is happening, but the neck is weird. Everything is weird. So I don't know. I was thinking, man, too bad I can't just steek this somehow and add it to a different sweater, like take off the, like, I don't care about this part, but I'm pretty proud of this color work. So I was thinking, how could I save it? But, I mean, if anyone has any ideas, let me know. But I don't see how. Anyway, that's a sad... I know what it was. It was the short rows. And, you know, a lot of people talk about this in their podcast, that short rows can really get you. I actually joined the knitting place. They had a cow for, or a knit along for the Cuffle Sweater. And a lot of people that were there were talking about how annoying short rows are, and that most of them prefer the German short rows. I was going to put these on my head. Maybe that would be smarter. You know, I have never, I think I've done German short rows once. Maybe I should try to do that instead. I think baby kitty down here is probably, yep, she got a hold of one of my needles. Give me that. She's crazy. Okay, anyway. So, what else was I going to tell you guys about? Well, I guess that's it for as far as works in progress. Back to talking to Summer about summer tops. I have some other things that I'd really love to make. So this morning I joined a live that they were doing at the knitting place. And they were showcasing this beautiful new design called Laya from Isabel Kramer. And it's using Moondrake Merino Linen Blend yarn, which is a fingering weight. And I happen to have some already that I had ordered a long time ago. And it is a gorgeous, oh man, it's blowing out. It is so pretty though. It's like a, well, it's called driftwood, so it's like a blue with some creams in there and darker brown. It's more sky blue than it's showing. Do you see this? Hello? Are you the new co-host? Are you the new co-host? Say hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Coco Kitty. I'm a little demon. You little baby. Alright, anyway. So I'm excited because I only need 3 of these, and I have 3. So that's exactly what I'm going to use for that if I ever get to it with all these other projects looming. But yeah, check it out. I will try to post a picture of it here. But it's a really pretty design. I think it's bottom up, short sleeve, fingering weight, like I said, and then it has this beautiful lace detail at the top. I love all of her patterns. Isabel Kramer's awesome. Okay. Moving on. So another top that I would love to knit is called the Miss Serena, which is a Caitlin Hunter sweater. I think hers was done in heavier weight yarn. I have to look at the pattern again. I know that I researched it because I actually have yarn for that too. This is from Storyteller. Well, Storyteller is the yarn, but the actual store is Knits and Knots Tahoe. my friend Aubrey. She's awesome. She dyes her own yarn, and she has a little storefront. I've never actually gotten to visit her yet. My dad lives in a town right outside of Tahoe, and I've been talking to Aubrey like 4 or 5 years, maybe even 6 years now, and I have yet to see her shop. So anyway, she's always so helpful. She sends me goodies, and she helped me pick out yarn for the sweater. So yeah, the body of it is going to be this, obviously, and then the detail color work is going to be this held with mohair. So the patterning or the color work is going to be mohair, which I think will be neat just to have that part fuzzy. But look how beautiful. I mean, I'm not usually into neon yarn so much. I mean, it's way brighter than this. It's not even really picking it up. But I think when it's paired with this, it'll tone it down a little bit. I think this yarn is by, let me see, Electric Love. Oh, it's a one-of-a-kind color. But it's a superwash, 85% superwash and 15% nylon. So, yep, Electric Love. She actually has beautiful colors. I've gone to her website too. But I actually purchased this through Aubrey. So you should check out Aubrey's store. It's Knits and Knots Tahoe, if you haven't. Got a lot of cool stuff online. She's a really nice person and a great knitter. Okay, so the cat again. Okay, so I have this shabooey that was in my stash. It's called Rain, and it's 100% cotton. I think I probably got it on sale. It was probably dirt cheap because I wouldn't normally buy 100% cotton, but at least it would be washable if I wanted to. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I was talking about this Shabooey Knits Rain yarn, which is 100% cotton. It's just a black yarn, which is not my favorite, but it might be worth it to have a black summer tee or top in a light yarn like this. And it's fingering weight. You know, most people don't like to do black yarn, but we'll see. I was thinking of doing the Love Note by Tin Can Knits because I've heard that that's a really easy one, and it's fun, and you can pretty much do it with any yarn. Now she's getting all my knitted birds. She's a bad girl. You're a bad girl. All right. Also, another pattern that I have had my eye on because my girlfriend, she wanted to knit it, and well, I helped her. She wanted to knit a blanket, and I was like, you know, she doesn't have like a small knitting shop in her house like I do. Oh, that's not the right pattern. So I donated some of my yarn to her. Oh man, I don't know where it is right now, but it's the Habitation Throw, which a lot of you probably already know what that is. It's a beautiful pattern by Helen Stewart. And it uses minis. And I donated my minis to her because she really loved the palette that was in the picture in the original pattern, and I actually have a lot of those colors. So I put that together for her. That was really fun, and she really loved it. So I think we're going to probably do a knit along, the two of us together, and I'll put a picture of the blanket here. But yeah, it's just a scrappy use minis or whatever you have in your stash kind of thing. And yeah, that's something that you could probably just keep in your bag and just knit on like socks kind of. Something to do on the side. What does that mean? Talking about... Oh yeah, I already did that. Okay. So yeah. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about, or two other things, is I think I'm going to knit this hat called the Lotus Hat. Sorry. I'm like zoning out because there's all this activity outside and it's distracting me. Anyway, I think I'm going to knit a, I don't know if you guys have seen this pattern. Of course, I'm not prepared. I don't know what the name of the designer is, but I'll try to post it here. But I do know it's called the Lotus Hat or Lotus Beanie. But it's got this little lotus flower pattern on it, and it's a chunky yarn. I think they used Rasta for that, but it's a very contrastive. It's designed to use really contrasted colors. So I think I'm going to knit my dad's wife that because she loves beanies. And they go to the snow a lot. So, I mean, obviously we're heading into spring and summer, but eventually maybe that can be like a Christmas gift. Yeah. And so I just actually had, I don't know, months ago, I had pre-ordered this magazine. And it finally came, the Pom Pom Magazine. And I really wanted this one because there are a couple designs. I mean, most of the designs are just absolutely stunning, but there's one in particular from an amazing designer and Indie Dyer too. She has beautiful yarn. I have some of her yarn. It's called Kindred Red. But the designer is Amalia Sieber. She's just a really nice person. I've actually had many conversations with her. She's one of those people, she's pretty famous, but she will just, you could DM her and she's the nicest person. Like, she's not too good. Anyway, this one is the one that I'm really interested in knitting. It's called the Crux. And it reminds me of, well, it is. It's like sashiko. So it's like top stitching. Look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I mean, it's a project that's probably for me. That would take me probably a year to do, to be honest. And this one too. Look at this. I don't know if I could pull this one off because I'm pretty busty and just short-waisted. It may not look good, but I do love it. Yeah, I think this is adorable too. They have it in featured in two different colors. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? And then this one on the cover. Oh my gosh. I love that. Anyway, it's just a beautiful magazine. You know, it's more than a magazine. They have articles too, and I think may even have a recipe or two in here. Oh, look at this Stephen West ad. Isn't he's so funny? That's his partner that owns this the knitting store that he has in, where is he at? Amsterdam. Yeah. Anyway, oh, and this one too I think would be fun. It's called Whole Cloth. It's by Maria Matviva. Hope I didn't butcher that name. Isn't that gorgeous? Holy moly. And a rustic yarn, that would be something else. Anyway, guys. Oh, so I guess the rest of the time I will just talk about some of the things that in my personal life that have been going on. So if you're not interested in that, you can always just shut it off, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining. But if you're sticking around, I mean, there's not much to say. I already talked about Elle leaving. So I've been teaching. Most of us in California have been, that are teachers are just teaching from home, but our district has decided to go back to a hybrid system, which means that we are going in person 2 days, and then distance 2 days, and then Friday is asynchronous, meaning we will not be doing much of anything except, that we'll record things and stuff for the kids to tap into and listen to and take notes from, but it won't be a live recording or in-person session. So the training for that started this week. It's been a little nutty, a little emotional. Luckily, I'm getting the vaccine, my first round, on tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. A little nervous. It's hard not to be slightly apprehensive over something that's so new, and something that usually takes years to develop. So there's always that, but you know what? I think it'll give me a peace of mind. And what else? What else have I been up to? Oh, my boss, I teach, and then on my side hustle, I nanny. So like I mentioned, Audrey's family, the one that I knit the sweater for, they're just amazing people. And for Christmas, they gifted me roller skates, because I used to roller skate as a kid, but I have been dreaming of roller skates for years now. And so they got me these amazing skates. They're actually in my car right now, but I have not, with all of the changes at school and stuff, I haven't really gotten a chance to take them out too much. I switched the wheels around, but it's funny, I realized how out of shape I am. And, there isn't in my house, I don't have, my floors are, I'll show you, my floors are, like brick. So it's pretty hard to skate on that when you're just beginning again. So that's been tough, because, now that we're back at school and we're still following the rules of social distancing, it's really not safe for me to be around, a lot of people in close proximity. So my point is hasn't been a lot of opportunities to skate. And so it's been kind of a bummer, but, I've just been plugging away at doing things that make me feel calm. And so that's what I do. I've just been knitting and trying to practice skating when I can, and trying to practice self-care. I mean, knitting's part of that, but yeah, sometimes I get away from doing, I should probably, draw a bath sometimes. I have a great bathtub, but I never do that. Just silly stuff like that would be so easy to do, but, I get lazy. I'm more of I shower more, so it's I don't want to clean out the tub. I don't know. Excuses. We all make them, don't we? So anyway, I hope that my podcast was, fun to hang out with me. I really enjoyed hanging out with you. I hope, like I said, this finds you happy and healthy. I'm sorry I seem scattered. Next time I'll have it nailed a little better. I'm just super rusty. Plus, not having Elle here, that kind of keeps it flowing a little better to have a second person. Hey guys, sorry, my phone died, so that was why I just cut out at the last minute like that. I apologize. As you can see, we're losing light, so I just wanted to pop back on and say, give a formal goodbye. And anyway, I hope this finds you well, and I'll catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.